This morning we're going to talk about another way of looking at forgiveness as the Course talks about it. Almost exclusively in the Course we're told that we have to forgive our brothers, we have to forgive people for what they haven't done to us, we have to forgive all people, there can't be any exceptions to our forgiveness. And of course, this clearly, our relationships clearly constitutes the most significant and important classrooms in our learning, since our unconscious guilt almost invariably tends to be projected onto people, and certainly a significant people in our life. But there's an even more there's another way of looking at forgiveness, which is even more embracing. You may recall in the early workbook lessons, Jesus talks about looking at objects in the room differently. One lesson has us look at a waste paper basket, a coat hanger, a hand, etc. In other words, setting aside the hand for the moment, it would be things that we think of as being inanimate. Things in our world that are non-living, in contrast with the animate, which would be things that are living, human beings, animals, plants, etc. When we understand what projection is, that there is literally nothing outside of our mind, because ideas leave not their source, and the only problem is the mind's decision for guilt, which is an abstract, non-specific thought in our minds, as is love, as is forgiveness, as is atonement. They only become specific when we project them out. That if that is the problem, then it makes no difference onto what object the guilt is put on. Whether we're talking about a person, whether we're talking about a pet, whether we're talking about a toaster, an automobile, or computer, whether we're talking about some food, it makes no difference what the object of our projection is, since the problem is never what is outside, the problem is always what is inside. That is why there's that line most Course students know very well: seek not to change the world, choose rather to change your mind about the world. Right? At the beginning of chapter 21. The problem is never what is outside of us, because once again, ideas leave not their source. There's one passage in the workbook which Jesus refers to this as one of the most central concepts in the Course. Without understanding that ideas leave not their source, there is no way of understanding anything in this Course, because the gist of that is that there again, the problem is never outside, the problem is the mind's decision for the ego. That is the problem. That's why lessons 79 and 80 say there's only one problem, that's the belief in separation, there's only one solution, and that's the atonement. So again, it doesn't matter what we project onto, so that it's just as important for our atonement path and our progress on the atonement path that as we go through our day, we not only monitor our minds for unkind, unloving, judgmental thoughts towards other people, but also towards the objects in our life. So if our car doesn't start in the morning and we get angry at the car, that's an unforgiveness that's just as detrimental to our spiritual growth as being angry at the one who left the lights on so the car didn't start. If our computer jams and locks up and we start to get impatient with the computer, we are saying the reason I am not at peace is because my computer has locked up again. Right? That's the lie. So when we speak about not believing the ego's lies, that's a very glaring example of that. The reason I'm upset is because my computer locked up. I did not invite Jesus in with me as I was sitting at my desk. If I had, and I felt his love beside me, then if my computer locked up, I would do whatever was needed to get the computer up and running again, but I would not be impatient, I would not be angry, I would not be annoyed. I would not feel, why does this always happen to me? If my toaster malfunctions and my toaster morning is burnt, I would not get angry at the toaster. If there's traffic on the highway and I'll be late for a very important appointment, I won't be impatient. Right? Being impatient doesn't help me get to the appointment any more quickly. If someone cuts me off, I won't be angry at that person. So whether we're talking about a person or we're talking about a thing, it should make no difference. So that our forgiveness lessons really should become as generalized as we could possibly make them, to include anything in the world outside of us, animate or inanimate, that we believe has an effect on us, making us happy, making us peaceful, making us angry, bringing us pain, bringing us pleasure. Since again, ideas leave not their source, the problem is the idea of separation or the idea of guilt that our minds have chosen. That is the problem, not what gets projected, or not what it gets projected onto. So This would help us really broaden our understanding not only of the Course's metaphysical principles, but certainly broaden our understanding of how they ought to be applied in our daily life. And this would really speed us along our atonement path and bring us home.